Powered by Riverside FM.
Deep in the heart of mysterious forest, lurking in the shadows, are creatures you may have never heard of. We're delving into the world of cryptids, these elusive beings that spark both fear and fascination. Tonight on Newsworthy, 2 words and 2 question marks.
Hi, this is Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. Buying your first home can be overwhelming, but here are 5 tips to make the process go smoother. Number 1, find a lender, me, Ed Locke, that can answer any questions you might have and help you get pre-approved. There are multiple options available based on your situation. Number 2, work with a real estate agent you can trust. Number 3, don't rush the process. Take your time and know that the process could take some time. Number 4, consider all the costs. Number 5, get a home inspection and review it with your realtor. Keep these tips in mind, budget for yourself, and you'll be that much closer to making your dream of homeownership a reality. So reach out to me at 502-680-0953. NMLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, NMLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is an equal housing opportunity.
He's alive! Have you checked the children? Get out!
You have scoured the podcast world and finally found us, Newsworthy with Steve and Jerry, where we delve into all things mysterious, macabre, or out of this world, and decide if they are truly newsworthy. 2 words and 2 question marks.
So, Brett, is it righty-tighty, lefty-loosey?
You almost have to explain a little bit where that comes from.
What? Do we want to?
No, but we didn't want Steve to go there either.
Good way to start the show.
What a way to start the show. So, read an article. It was... we're going to start the show this way. Jerry said so. So...
You didn't push nipples, so Jerry.
So, read an article and I asked the question if which way of the twist of the appendage, the frontal appendages on a female body felt better.
He failed to say he asked his wife this question during dinner, as he was trying to test out the hypothesis.
Well, first of all, I'm not drinking nearly as much as I did last week. I'm just going to say so.
I'm sure people are begging to differ at this point.
He's drinking twice what he drank last week.
Yes.
No, I wouldn't be able to do this at all. Period. It'd be done. I'd be out. Oh, man. So, anyway, welcome to the show. Welcome, Brett. Brett's back. So excited.
Another good week.
Glad to have him, as always.
Yeah, very good week so far.
Hot.
Yeah.
Miserably hot.
I am so ready for fall. We got teased with those like 3 or 4 days that was like 6, low 50, high of 70, and then all of a sudden we get this huge heat wave again.
The worst of the year. Yeah.
It's been a hot summer, like a really
It
hot,
has.
really hot summer.
It has. Yeah, this is crazy hot. What was the high today? Did you guys hear?
No, but when I got in my car, it was 102.
Right, yeah, the heat index was like over 100.
So, I just want to say, where you are as a group, if you're listening to the show and want to check us out, we're on YouTube. There's a couple of videos up. There's a lot of videos up, but a couple of new videos that Brett's been doing. So if you check it out.
Fantastic job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Wright Patterson, it's got some audio issues. We think we might have fixed that the last one, though.
And we think we've got the video fixed now, hopefully. So with the equipment that we have, we may have to upgrade the equipment, but we are trying.
Right,
So
yeah.
just bear with us. Keep watching. I know there was several people that did watch. Appreciate y'all watching. So keep that up. Our numbers continue to go up. Not that anybody cares about numbers anymore, but just continue to grow, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah. Unfortunately, guys, I'm afraid there's a possibility I'm going to be going to jail soon.
Really?
Yeah. So y'all know I like board games. Saturday I played TI4 again. I lost again. Shut up, Brett. I don't like you. But I was at the store the other day and I saw one I just had to have. Couldn't really afford it, so I stole it.
Stole it.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah, I did. I'm not happy to admit it. It was, quite frankly, the biggest risk I've ever taken. So,
Oh man, I'm glad I didn't pick that joke.
Me too. I actually read that one, and I was like, nope.
I almost picked it.
I did not.
that's because we're cool and we play board games. Jerry.
For those that don't know, he's talking about TI4.
Twilight Imperium.
Have you
4.
played that yet?
I have several times.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Here's the problem. I have the attention span of
Oh,
this,
yeah,
and
you would.
TI4 requires, and I played it a couple of times when it was like 8 hours long.
Oh yeah, it's mentally exhausting.
I think I've heard you guys now have it down usually to 6, 7.
Yeah.
We were playing 8 hours. I don't have the patience for that.
And it doesn't feel like 8 hours. You just like start playing and you're like, I remember the last time I played.
It felt like 15 hours.
So for me, the last time I played, I was like building up, and then I was like, all right, a couple rounds, I'm gonna be, and then all of a sudden the game was over. I was like, wait, what?
I agree. My problem was we a couple of times talked about it. We knew the games are getting too long at that point, and we instituted a timer for each person to make a decision. And someone had a nap on the phone. Well, in theory, it was smart, but in practicality, the same two people, I'm not going to name names, but the same two people, the buzzer would go off, and 2 minutes later, they'll finally make a decision. And I'm sitting over here going, every time that some people, depending on who they are, just took forever. And I was like, this is ridiculous. But I don't have 8 hours to put into a game.
Well, it is my downtime. I don't get many days that I don't have anything to do, and I like to fill it. When it's blistering hot or stupid cold, why not? Because I'm not going to be on my bike, and that's the other thing that I really like to do.
And there's very low risk involved.
This kid.
I'm playing along with your.
I appreciate it. Let me give you a little pops for that. Say that one more time.
I'm playing along with your joke.
Boom.
There you go.
Wait, that's awesome. Now, I was reading this science article, and just researching the show.
You look like a science article reader.
Yeah, well, what I do. But did you know if we remove all the margarine on Earth, what would happen?
What's that?
The world would be a better place.
Oh, I like that one. That's a good one right there. That's the best one I've heard for a while. You'll have to explain that.
You don't have to explain
margarine.
It's a terrible joke. Listen,
6-letter word.
Do you want to know you want to know a good show that we need to do?
What's that?
The rise of Alzheimer's with how it correlates with the rise of margarine use in America.
Oh, margarine is terrible for you.
It's one molecule away from plastic.
I know. And so I tried to explain this to Truly. It took me literally 6 years of marriage to get her to stop buying the $1 Blue Bonnet butter.
Yes.
And start just buying regular butter. I was like, it's going to be $3 more a week. It's not a big of a deal. Just go ahead and
absolutely.
And it tastes better. It's better for you.
There's so much, and I really want to do a show on the way that the pharmaceutical companies, I don't know what the word is. I mean, first of all, let me say I'm not anti-medicine. There are medicines that are amazing. There are companies out there that are amazing. But there are also some really strange things that happen within a pharmaceutical company. As an example, they give you a pill, a statin for high blood pressure or for high cholesterol. what they don't tell you is as soon as you start taking that, doesn't matter how much you eat, you will only be allowed your body. The medicine controls it to a point that it's insane. And one of the things that I heard, and I haven't fully researched it, but I definitely want to try, is they got, when they replaced margarine for butter, the big push was lower cholesterol.
Right. Yeah,
Well, every single cell in a human body requires cholesterol to grow, to divide, to be better. And I just really want to get into that. And I'm looking for a specific guest. As soon as I get him, I'm going to get him on here because, and I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. So, but the rise in the use of margarine in the 60s and 70s directly correlates with the rise of Alzheimer's and mental disease. And I think that's something that should be addressed.
I would say this. I don't, in the same time period, I don't think it was just margarine that we were changing.
Absolutely.
There was a ton of other changes that was going on.
Processed food became
so
huge.
Put it all together.
Yes.
You and I have said for many years, the biggest problem health-wise is, to me, without a doubt, the herbicides, pesticides, insecticides, and all that. That was getting really huge in that time period as well. So all of that plays a part in it. Back to your margarine thing. Several years ago, a pharmacist that my daddy went to most of his life, they were talking about margarine versus butter. He said, do me a favor, on a really hot summer day, and today, right now, would be a perfect time to do it. Take a stick of margarine, take it outside, put it on a plate, and leave it for 2 or 3 days, and look and see what you've got. What you end up with is something that you could probably hammer a brick with until it got brittle and broke. It turns into this substance that's, you look at it, and if you ask someone to eat it, they wouldn't touch it for $1,000.
And this definitely, with the amount of heat in our bodies, you have to understand. You almost, I don't know how you don't put the two together. If you consume this, it does this in the sunlight. What's it going to do in the heat of your body?
What does it take the body like 50 years to process out?
It's crazy.
I don't quote me on that. I feel like I heard something like that.
They also have this new thing called spreadable butter, which they probably add some more chemicals to regular butter to make it spreadable, which makes it less healthy. But I'd buy two things. I buy regular butter in the sticks, and I buy the spreadable. I haven't bought margarine in a long time.
And
for the reasons we're talking about.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that was a great show, guys. Congratulations.
Hold on. Let me at least give my dad joke.
Oh, here we go.
I don't know if I told you, but I'm married way too young.
Yeah?
Yeah. No, that's her name. She's Chinese.
All right, that's one of those that's like, odd, but super funny.
Joke grenade. Oh, my
man.
goodness. Wow.
We just lost all our listeners to China.
Come on, it's a joke.
No, that was funny. That was a good one.
The best part of the Olympics is the memes involving the contestants' names. That's to me personally.
I haven't seen any of them.
I'll show you some after we get off air.
The one that I saw the most of was the Turkish shooter. And he just like came up with just glasses on, like jeans and a polo.
That was fake.
What do you mean it's fake?
That was fake. And the guy that they said was just, whatever, normal Joe a few weeks before. What? Is that the one you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the guy who got silver. He won silver for the whatever that shooting.
Well, there were some memes about him that I thought you were talking about the memes related to that.
Well, there was memes made of him, but it was like him just being
he was very blasé.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to be that concerned.
It seemed like everybody else had some sort of like special targeting glasses, or I don't know.
And he looked like a guy that 2 weeks ago was working out the factory.
No, he looked like a guy that 2 weeks ago was taking out the guy who didn't pay Guido. That's what he looked like.
Well, after he started shooting, yeah. But before then, I would have been like, oh, that dude is some, computer science nerd. Works in a cubicle all day.
Crazy.
I agree. So you guys had a good week other than burning up?
Yeah. Yeah, I had a good week. Great week.
Good deal.
I want to shout out our friends over at Knights of D20 again. Their last episode went live Monday. It was fantastic. It is a fun listen. Please check them out. Just want to throw it out there.
What was the name again?
Knights of D20.
Knights of D20.
Yeah, they're on Twitch, YouTube, all the things.
There you go.
Instagram.
Discord, Instagram, all the things we're going to be doing at some
Just
point.
search for Knights of D20 and you'll find
Knights
them.
of D20.
Very
It's a
nice.
great. They're very at the very beginning of their campaign. So if you like things at the beginning, go check them out. They have a good mix of characters.
What's the one guy's name?
Maroway, my fave.
Maroway. There you
Yeah,
go.
my fave. Check him out. He's a satyr in the game, which is a half goat, half whatever, and that makes me happy because that character's never
Very
used in D&D anymore. There's a cat. There's a paladin cat. You know, there's a big hulking half orc. That's nice. Cute little princess. You know, there's all kinds of characters. There's somebody for everybody to get in there and like and latch on to and do it. So check them out. A lot of fun. Knights of D20 on Twitch every Monday night.
It makes me miss playing D&D.
Oh, well, you know, we roll every Saturday here.
I did not know that.
Every Saturday.
I knew
We
that you-
are
I knew
nerds.
that.
I knew that you started a new campaign a while ago. This was like before.
Yeah, I don't
was
run
late.
the game now. Our buddy Casey does.
Oh right, okay. Are you guys still doing fifth edition?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anywho, we had some cool. I want to call it the Cryptid Carousel today. Just want to say, if you're a praying person, please pray for Mr. Clay and his girlfriend. They had loss in their family. That's why he's not here with us tonight. We had to switch up topics, but they could use your prayers and your love. So send them to Clay's way. Thank you so much. So tonight we're going to do a Cryptid Carousel. Each of us picked a cryptid that we want to talk about. I don't think Haley fits into that, so I'm hoping
No,
you got
but
something
she-
different.
I looked it up.
Oh, okay, good.
She is in beast mode, so that qualifies.
And so we're going to have a little fun with that. These are cryptids that we wanted to cover, and you may or may not have heard of, but that's why we looped them all in here together.
Except for mine. Mine's pretty common.
Is it? Oh, yeah. That's cool. Also, before we get into it too deep, don't forget to check out our Monday episodes. Encounters. That's a lot of fun. I've been doing that with Jerry and Brett's help, and I just publish it.
That.
Well, no, but all the behind the scenes stuff. Yes, you guys are helping me immensely on that. So every Monday we publish that. It's either one or two interviews of real people talking about real stories and real encounters that they've had. Could be a ghost story one week. Could be a cryptid. Could be an alien story. Just never know what you're going to hear on encounters. And if you have one, by all means, get with us. Let us know. We want to get you on air and tell the world about it.
Absolutely.
Speaking of getting on air, we had some people who responded to our message last week for our free giveaway who did not give us their address. So we're going to try again this week. If you want an amazingly awesome gift.
Are those over here? Could I bring them over and show them?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
I think last week's episode, if you're watching on YouTube, you can go and watch the Vatican episode that posted on YouTube
No,
last week.
it's right there, Jerry. That one's the one we're giving away. Yep.
And I'll put it on this video as well, but
it's just that one.
You can.
No.
Oh, so this isn't the Lumpen Frog?
This is just, we're giving away Bigfoot's foot casting this week.
Gosh, okay.
All you have to do, you right there listening, call the number. Jerry, what's the number?
Area code 540-709-1318.
You like that?
I like that up there.
Yeah. So if you want to win this and use it for target practice or to hang it in your living room or to do whatever you like to do with it, call that number, text that number, your address. If you're the first person to do it this week and do it correctly, we're going to get this in the mail for you this week. You're going to have it by next week. You can enjoy it. You can invite your friends and family over. You can all look at it with mouths agape. How about that?
I'm mouth agape now. I'm pretty sure it's got 7 toes. I just counted.
Well, we don't know what Bigfoot has.
Exactly.
So,
Mouth agape.
And if not, if no one does it this week, I'm going to Walmart, the local Walmart, and I'm going to put it in some old lady's basket, and it's going to be bad. I'm just saying. So save an old lady a trip to the heart attack specialist.
Yep. That's what will happen.
That would be something to get on video.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know what Okay, so I know we gotta get the show started. I'm so sorry. You guys have ever watched any of the videos from Angry Grandma? She cusses a lot, very angry.
Yes.
Her son does the pranks, and they prank each other all the time. He went into a local store and put a bunch of pictures like this of her in the picture to art aisle, and made sure she came up that aisle in the last video I saw. It was absolutely one of the funniest things I've watched in a long time.
Pissed.
She was so angry. And we can't even use the language that she was using on our show because we're PG-13 here. So, but anyway.
We only get one F word per video.
Yeah, well, we try not even do that
No,
here. Now, when we go live on Twitch, you never know what you're going to get because you're going to get all the ins and the outs on that show. But anyway, Brett, tell us about your cryptid. Let's get this show started. We're only 21 minutes in.
There you go. We were worried about time.
I know, right?
We are. So, I did something a little different than what we usually do. So, I really hate when people do stuff like this on YouTube and TikTok. I hate reviews of other people's podcasts. I just don't like it. I feel like it's kind of cheap.
Unless they're good.
Yeah, I don't know. If I want to listen to their podcast, I'll just watch the podcast. I don't really need anybody else's commentary. But Joe Rogan, the biggest podcaster in the world, no doubt, he just had on a guy. His name is Luis Elizondo.
Oh, Luis Alexandro. I know him.
Yeah, so he was phenomenal. I was watching his episode, and honestly, the whole time I was like, man, I can't wait for Jerry to watch this. Because it was just one of those things where the dude has crazy credibility. I mean, crazy.
Crazy good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Crazy good. And I'll get into it. The dude was very, very, very intelligent. He knew what he was talking about for sure. I mean, you can get that from the podcast. I mean, this dude was very knowledgeable about a lot of different things as far as, just our military's capabilities, as far as aircraft goes, and government policy. I mean, he was very, very knowledgeable about a whole lot of stuff, and they had a lot of really good philosophical questions, just on the, should the government tell us that aliens are real? Should they continue to keep it a secret? They had a lot of really good back and forth, and he was able to argue really well for both sides. He did a really good job. So definitely watch the podcast. I think it was like around 2.5 hours. But there's a lot of good information. But I wanted to go through, because everything that he talked about in this podcast, and of course our show is called Newsworthy, and the whole time he was talking about all these things, they're all things that the government has already come out with. It's an official government document that they were talking about, an official video that the government's already released and said, hey, this is legit. And so in my mind, I was like, man, this is 100% newsworthy, because I've never heard any of these things, and they've been released to the public for years at this point. So just a little background. He was in the Army. Then he went to the Federal Service, where he worked in counterintelligence, which basically just is looking at what the bad guys know about us. So he did that for several years. And in 2008, he was working as the Director of National Intelligence. Early 2009, he was approached to be part of a secretive program. So he kind of talks about this in the episode. He kind of says, like, everybody thinks of secretive program as being like, oh man, you're going to be working on some crazy cool stuff. But he had basically said that a lot of people have top secret clearances, and it's not really an uncommon thing in the federal government, at least.
A lot of people would argue the fact that we have too many people with top secret clearance because it allows so much information to not be disseminated to the normal people.
Yeah.
That's for you, Clay.
So anyway, so he was asked to be a part of this program. He was actually asked to run the counterintelligence security, what's called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. So he talked about his kind of first introductions to the program. He met the director and was immediately asked what he thought about UFOs, and his response was just simply, "I don't." He said that at the time he wasn't really interested in science fiction. He never really got into the whole UFO topic. Later on, they kind of get into Bob Lazar. Joe Rogan's a very big Bob Lazar guy. He's had Bob Lazar on the show. He seemed like, and Luis, he could have been, just kind of blowing smoke, but he seemed to not really know much about Bob Lazar. It seemed like most of what he believed was just stuff that he experienced at his position as director of counterintelligence. So he did have past experience in protecting aerospace and flight technology. That was one of the reasons he thinks that he was picked for the job, because he had that experience. He knew what technology America was that America had. He knew what we were capable of, and that was one of the reasons why he was picked for this position. So he said that it wasn't a one video he saw. That's when he started believing that there was something else out there, that something else was here on Earth that was not human. And he said it was a gradual thing, but it was over. He said tons of video footage, sensor data, radar detection, eyewitnesses, all of this data. And he said a lot of the footage is 4K resolution. A lot of the things that the government has released to us, it's like just like the Tic Tac video. It's like it's very blurry. You can see what's going on, but it's not very. He said there's very 4K resolution videos that you can see he said it's super clear. Obviously, he wasn't able to talk about specifics. I kind of go into some of the stories he talks about, but just to know that there's more out there that they haven't showed us. Obviously, I think we all kind of agree with that. We kind of thought that to begin with, but just to hear it from somebody who's actually still contracting for the government, he still does contract work. So him to even just start talking about this just blows my mind, and it makes me think that the government is kind of trying to. He even says it in the podcast. It's the worst kept secret. That aliens exist. So first off, what do you think? Just hearing about his credibility, what do you think about the guy?
I've long said that for me to believe anything that we talk about, which is kind of borderline stuff, if it's just, we don't get into the stuff that ABC, CBS, Fox, CNN is carrying. But I record 2 or 3 things. But anytime you have a large number of people saying the same thing over a period of time, or if you have really reputable people, former head of the Pentagon's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, I do not know how you could get more credible than that.
Here's my thought, and I'm going to go a little different event. Probably I'm going to play Jerry tonight, apparently.
Oh, no, man.
Back in the late 1990s, early 2000s, Rick Doty came out as a whistleblower for a lot of projects. And at one point later in his testimony, it was brought to the attention of everybody that he was actually a intelligence plant to put out fake information to hurt what's the word I'm looking for? The credibility of UFO hunters. Now, Richard Doty then changed his mind again and said, yeah, but here's some stuff that is really happening. So take that with a grain of salt. the thing that I bring up here, and the reason I bring up Richard Doty, is because these two men have something in common. They both work for the intelligence agencies of the United States government. And just because I am who I am, if you work for the intelligence agency, that automatically you have an uphill battle for me to gain credibility.
Did he work for intelligence?
Yes.
Yeah. Thought he worked for the Army. He was at the Pentagon.
Who? He did, but he also worked in intelligence
he
for
worked
like
in
15 years.
Counterintelligence. That's what he did.
Counterintelligence.
But I
To
think
me,
that
that's
was military itself.
Right, it was
to me,
military,
it doesn't. I mean, the
Yeah, I'm just saying
military
It was for the
CIA
Department of
or-
Defense.
right.
Right.
But to me, intelligence is intelligence. Your job is to do two things: either find the truth and spread the lie. I mean, that's what you do in intelligence. So
Yeah.
that just concerns me. Now, he does spring. I've seen many videos with or interviews with Luis Alexandro, and I've always found him to be, his testimony is always the same. It's always consistent. It's believable. He's not out there, making up a bunch of craziness. So I do find him credible, but it's a level of credibility that's down here as opposed to way up here, just for the simple fact he did work intelligence at one point.
The whole video, I was just like, man, I can't believe the government is like okay with it. But all he did was talk about documents that the government has already released to us. So,
and I think he's towing a very fine line there.
Well, and that's exactly what he said. He said, "I'm putting my toe at the edge of the line
Between what's allowed and not allowed for him
and
to say.
I guess he's gotten approval to talk about all these things from the Pentagon. And he was saying that it took over a year just to get the approval to talk about these things out in public on podcasts. Again, it was a great podcast. You should definitely listen to it. So some of the things that he had talked about, let's see. So the first thing, Joe Rogan kind of asked the question of, a lot of people have the argument that, well, all these UAPs that we're seeing, maybe the U.S. just has a secret government or a secret.
Well, the answer to that is yes.
To a secret project that where we have this capability that it's not known yet. And so Joe was like, well, what's the oldest thing that you saw that was like, man, this is credible? And so he pulls out this document from 1950. Of course, we all know what was happening during that time. And so I'll just kind of I kind of quoted what he highlighted in the document. So again, this is a document that the government has released to the public. You can look it up. It said, this summary of observations of aerial phenomena has been prepared for the purpose of re-emphasizing and reiterating the fact that the phenomena have continuously occurred in the New Mexico skies during the last 18 months and are continuing to occur. And secondly, these phenomena are occurring in the vicinity of sensitive military and government installations. And then it goes on to say, the observers of those phenomena include scientists, special agents of the Office of Special Investigations, airline pilots, military pilots, Los Alamos security inspectors, military personnel, and many other persons of various occupations whom reliability is not questioned. The subject line of the document was Summary of Observations of Aerial Phenomena in the New Mexico Area, December 1948 and May of 1950, and the document was dated May 25th of 1950.
Wow.
So, immediately, we've done the Roswell episode. Immediately, I'm like, Project Mogul? Where's Project Mogul in this, It's like, I thought that was the whole thing. It was like, oh, well, this is our other secret, project we got going on here that we were doing the Cold War. It's like, well, they're 100% acknowledging that this is something that they don't know what's going on. So just to give some context of that time, we had just broken the sound barrier. We had not been to space yet. There is no country in the world who would have had this technology. So that was one thing he brought up that I thought was very interesting. I've never seen that document before. Never heard of it. I wish I would have before our Roswell episode. That would have been something cool to bring up. He talked about there are foreign reports where other countries have experienced similar incidents with UAPs. He did say he couldn't go into specifics because it was still classified, but he did acknowledge that the U.S. is not the only country who's experienced these. And he actually talked a lot about South America because it seems like South America is a lot more open. He actually said the first time he really thought there was something to this whole UFO thing was he was at a some sort of dinner, a high class like billionaire sponsored dinner, and there was a general from Brazil there, high ranking general. He was talking about he actually brought photographs of what they have seen and kind of telling the stories of some of their UFP interactions, and that was when he started to be like, all right, there's something to this.
What do you think the draw is in South America? There's not a nuclear nation in South America, and a lot of the times it usually starts, well, they were near our nuclear facilities or our nuclear test range, or
right.
What is it? And dare I say, shame on me. Could it be the pyramids? I'm a big believer in the pyramids are an energy source theory that, Jerry and I have even talked a million times about. There's no way humans created them.
We still can't figure it out.
Right.
We can't figure out how it was made. Yeah.
So is that what brings them to the Incan and the Mayan pyramids? Is it because otherwise, what's down there?
But I think, to me, I would answer that this way. Sorry to steal it from you, Brett. If we think about an alien society that is far enough advanced to come visit us, they are so far ahead of us that we don't have the first freaking clue of why they're in South America,
right,
and what interests them and don't. I also believe that a lot of the nuclear-related theorems don't hold up because nuclear to them is like ancient stuff that they could care less about.
Right.
They had to figure that out a few thousand years ago before they could come visit us. So they're not coming here to look at the advancements we made in nuclear technology. They're not.
Talking about credibility here, and I'm going to throw a name out there that doesn't have a lot anymore. Used to, but doesn't now, and that's Dr. Stephen Greer. The one thing that Dr. Greer does state when it comes to UFOs and UAPs is that for them to have the technology to be here, regardless of what system they're from, be it the next one over or a million ones away, they are using energy sources that we have
can only dream of.
Can't even fathom, because they have to be not only the speed of sound, the speed of light, they have to be able to do that in a way that doesn't harm the occupants, that allows them in a ship of some sort to get through the radiation.
I got to get to that.
Yeah, well, go ahead, Brent. Let us not steal your thunder.
Okay.
Ooh, is that a prelude for what's coming later?
Uh-oh. All right, before I get to that, I do want to talk about one more story he had mentioned.
Sure.
So this was the only one that Joe Rogan kept pushing him, like, hey, can you give us anything of like a modern sighting, that was just unbelievable. And he said, all right, I'll try and skate around this. And so he talked about, there's a high resolution video. It was an object the size of a small city.
Holy shit.
That goes by underwater. And the speeds they measured were between 450 and 550 knots underwater.
That's insane. That goes against anything that humans have ever, or any animal on Earth is able to do.
Yeah, and the water is it's not like causing waves. It's having no impact on its surroundings, essentially.
I think I heard of this.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So it seemed like he said it was still classified, but I'm not sure. But anyways, it's a great podcast. He has more stories than that. Those are just some of the ones I wanted to highlight. He did to get on with the technology that we're dealing with here. He did confirm that there's a team of scientists that have been trying to develop a unifying theory that basically explains how all of these aircraft can do what they do. And he said that he kind of made the disclaimer. He's not a physicist. So he's not going to be able to explain everything in great detail. But he did try and put it in normal terms. Basically, what he said was, so they believe that they're warping space-time to create some sort of bubble that protects them from Earth's gravity, the effects of their surroundings. He said he sat through like a 3-hour lecture where one of the lead scientists described this theory, and basically in summary, the ship can create a bubble that insulated it from the effects of gravity, and then can fold space-time to travel from one point to another and appear to be instantaneous.
Wormholes.
Right.
Creating their own wormholes.
Right. And so this was very similar. They got to talking about Bob Lazar, and of course Joe Rogan tells him what Bob Lazar talked about. And all the dude says was, at the very least, it's a hell of a guess.
I like how he skirted around. Yeah, Bob's right. When we know Bob's right.
Yeah.
I'm in the camp that I absolutely believe Bob.
I 100%.
100%.
I guess the thing I find most bewildering is we have this expert. We have this expert who spent his entire career and is very renowned. He led departments in the Pentagon. And you question his authenticity and credibility. But Bob Lazar, who can't even prove that he went to school anywhere. Every school he says he went to says, dude, we never heard of you. And
He never
you
worked
accept him with no problem.
Well, he never worked for an intelligence agency.
But he did work at Area 51.
And S4.
And S4.
Yeah.
But yeah, no one would ever want to hide that stuff.
There was one more thing I want to
Sure.
talk about. One more thing.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm going a little long.
That's all right.
So they got into Joe Rogan kind of challenged he kind of challenged him, was like, what's the argument for keeping this secret? And he basically came at it from a military perspective. So he said these aliens are either good, neutral, or bad. And he said that he didn't see any evidence for them being good. A lot of what we have talked about is they're very interested in nuclear weapons, nuclear technology. It seems like they kind of gravitate towards that. And what he was saying was, they didn't stop the bombing at Hiroshima. They didn't stop us developing nuclear weapons, which they could have done. Now we pretty much most developed countries have some sort of nuclear technology. So he said that he didn't see any evidence that they were completely good. And if they are bad, he said that what they're doing as far as, looking at what our capabilities are, kind of gauging that, he said that's exactly what the U.S. would do as some sort of long-range
Scout program.
surveillance.
So whatever they're doing it with their best interest, not necessarily ours.
Yeah. And
kinda
that's
makes
what he
sense.
was. That was his like. He's trying to argue for the other side. Is like, hey, we don't know what they're doing. We don't know if they're good, bad, neutral. So we don't know what their intentions are. And Joe Rogan actually asked him, hey, does the U.S. have any alien material? He's like, I can't answer that. But what I can say is there is significant evidence to suggest that the government is in possession of exotic material that is not made by humans.
Well,
So
I've long term said that if an alien race has the potential to get all the way here and they want to inspect our world, they're not that we are ants and we will be something to be shoot away so they can have whatever it is.
We're
they
not
want.
going to
Water,
teach them
gold.
anything.
Yeah.
Right.
They're coming for resources. And I think, not to bring sci-fi into it, but I think Independence Day had it right. If they come here, they're coming here for resources, not because they want to be friendly.
Yeah. Well, we just talked about the Vatican. The Vatican has documents that, with I think it was one of the Roman leaders. I can't remember exactly, but they had talked about some UAPs that they had seen, like UFOs.
Speaking of the Vatican, had a listener reach out to me on Messenger, which you can do. You can Google us. We're on Messenger, Facebook, all that stuff. Please reach out. They want us to do a show on the secrets of the Vatican, not the secret items. And a couple of examples they used was why the main atrium in one of their brand new buildings looks like the head of a snake. And it really does. You see the pictures. They sent a couple of pictures. We want to try to work that into our schedule here pretty soon because that was pretty cool.
Back to what Brett was
Yes.
talking about. Both of you guys talked about what you were just saying, what he was discussing. Are they good? Are they bad? Are they neutral? Here's my point. If they intended to do us harm, our world would have been annihilated.
That's exactly what I was trying to. Yeah, that's what I was trying to bring up
So
with that. Yeah.
there's probably no evidence that they're here trying to help us. They're obviously not trying to hurt us or would have done so.
Right.
Again, as Steve was saying, they certainly have the capability of doing so, and if they wish to do that, already would have. I looked this episode up. I've not watched it yet. For those that want to, Joe Rogan Experience number 2194. We're a podcast.
Yeah.
We hope someday to not be in the realm of this. This is not even something you dream about. But if we could get 1/10 the number of listeners that he had, now hold on. If we can get 1/10 the number of listeners that he has, number of people leaving comments every week.
All right.
For that episode, which aired 5 days ago, so far, 11,793 comments have been left on that
Is
episode.
it on YouTube, Spotify?
YouTube.
I think I brought this up. I think he has more listeners than CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC.
He has
combined.
17.2 million subscribers. Just his number of subscribers.
That's ridiculous.
Now, back to this particular episode. One thing you and I have talked about in particular in the past is sometimes people have reasons for maybe not telling the whole story. This gentleman does have a book, which I highly recommend. This, I haven't listened to this episode. I'm absolutely going to. It's very intriguing. He has a new book called Imminent, Inside the Pentagon's Hunt for UFOs.
This is what he got approved from the Pentagon.
One of the comments said this: it's worth noting that he didn't come on here trying to promote his book. If I'm not mistaken, he didn't mention it once. Want me to have credibility and believe you? Write a book and then come on Joe Rogan and don't mention your book.
The only thing he said was he put together a writing that he had to get cleared by the Pentagon. I didn't even know he wrote a book after watching the episode. So yeah, I mean it's anyway.
In my opinion, Steve may not agree, or apparently doesn't, but pretty high credibility.
That's so funny.
I don't say I don't believe him. I just say that my red flag meter goes up because he is intelligent. That's
Has been.
it has,
But he's not even really saying anything that's like, he's not a whistleblower.
right.
He's only, all he's using is the stuff that the government's already released. And he's just bringing it to light, really.
Yeah.
It's speaking from he's just speaking from a, position of credibility.
Sure.
In case you haven't noticed, and I'm sure he needs it, but we're highly recommending that you go watch the Joe Rogan episode. I'm sure that the
He's
fact that
desperate for
Newsworthy is
listeners,
going to plug him will drastically help his.
Well, it will, and Joe, we are absolutely expecting you to do the same for us.
Turnabout's fair play.
Oh,
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Jerry, what do you want to cover tonight? I heard a little bit about
Haley?
what you said, and I was pretty excited.
Haley, so am I. I get excited. I didn't know you felt that way about Miss.
I do not feel that way about Haley Hawktua girl.
Y'all heard it here first. The man's excited with Miss Hawktua.
Oh my gosh. Now you guys know why on the podcast I have to drink.
Because you're that excited about Haley?
No, because of what you put me through
Why?
emotionally and
You asked me to bring it or to start talking about.
sangria tonight.
Steve begged me to cover Hawktua Girl, but I said this is a family-friendly PG-13 podcast. I probably should refrain. So instead, this week I'll be talking about the skunk ape, a cousin of Bigfoot. That's one of the names that he's known by, is Bigfoot's cousin. Now, we have often mentioned that Bigfoot and similar cryptids exist not just in the Northwest, which is where, have you ever seen a map of the sightings, dots? It's Northwest. That's the predominant majority of them. But it's not just there. It's all over the United States. It's all over the world. Different names, whether it's Sasquatch, Yeti, and now skunk ape. Skunk ape is primarily in the southeast and even more notably in the Florida Everglades. Again, it's a bipedal human or ape-like creature. A little bit smaller than most other Bigfoot. This one is normally reported to be between 5 and 7 feet. Again, covered with reddish brown hair. human life, that's one thing you hear about almost all of these. In 2 or 3 different instances, you hear people who say that they actually had it in their rifle sights and couldn't pull the trigger because it looked too human-like, too close to being a human. Yeah, you're looking at anything, unless you're a cold-blooded person, that's going to go through your mind. I better make sure I know exactly what I'm looking at.
I don't hunt much anymore because I don't eat a lot of game. But if I'm not going to eat it, I'm not going to shoot it. I don't care what it is.
The only exception that I would have for that would be I had several friends when I lived in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and apparently the deer population was so high that they were allowed to kill 9, 10, 12 a year.
Oh, wow.
But I had a few friends who would fill their freezers and would continue to hunt, and there was a local, what do you call the place that processes it?
Butcher shop.
Not a butcher shop, a place, a
meat
processing
processor.
plant.
Yeah.
That would, for free, if they would bring the deer and leave it, it would process it and donate all the meat to the food banks in the area.
Yeah.
So that would be the only reason.
Right.
I agree. I would never, and I don't even like people who hunt just because they want to kill. There's
And
no
then
sense
just
in
leave
that
it laying. It
There's
makes no
yeah,
sense to
it
me
doesn't
whatsoever.
at all. I'm the same way with fishing. If you're not going to do something with it, then which I don't think you don't keep your fish to.
I don't, but I make sure they get right back to the water after
Exactly.
I catch them.
Yeah. Why kill it otherwise?
So why don't you eat fish, Jeff?
I don't like fish.
At all. He and Dave.
You ever fried fish?
Yeah.
Like you don't like that either?
Listen, there's 2 kinds of great, wonderful fish in this world.
Long John Silver's. And
Long
all
John
the
Silver's
rest.
Long John's
is amazing.
Oh,
And
the worst.
now listen, this one's going to blow you away. I want you to go somewhere. I'm going to tell you to go somewhere. I want you to go to this, take your wife, go to this exquisite restaurant, and I want you to order the Filet-O-Fish with fries and a Coke, and spend at least $10 on this meal. So you'll have to get it large size, but that's an amazing fish sandwich. The Filet-O-Fish at this place, and I don't remember the name of it, but it has the big golden things. You know what I'm talking about? Has served billions. That is good quality fish. In fact, every time I eat there and I have that, I call the wife and be like, "Yo, I ate so healthy today," and she's like, "That's not healthy," and then hang up on me. But hey,
I challenge you to go into a Long John Silver's and not slip on their greasy floor.
don't you worry
Or
about their
smell
floor.
the-
Are you eating
Smell
off the
like
floor?
feet at every Long John Silver's I've ever
Are you
been to.
eating off the floor?
Oh my gosh! I can't
Listen,
believe you said Long John Silver's.
Listen,
good fish.
I know that there are a bazillion people listening to our show right now that has no idea what a Long John Silver's is because it's
Also,
very
They're
regional.
almost gone.
Long John
I know
Silver's
it's
will
not.
definitely sponsor you.
What?
We'll sponsor. We'll let
Oh yeah,
Long John Silver
absolutely,
sponsor us.
absolutely. Bring us
Sorry, not sponsor you.
some good fluffy fish. We'll be on it, bro.
I will not eat the fish, but
What's wrong with you?
For
I'll
those
drink the root
that
beer, I
might
guess.
think Steve is exaggerating, he and a buddy come up to visit Nikki and I when we lived in Fredericksburg. And it had been several years at that point since I'd been out to eat with him, didn't know what his diet was like and consisted of, what he liked, what he didn't like. And I asked him, I said, "Do you like seafood?" My daughter at the time worked for a all-you-can-eat place called Mad Crab. They had crab, blue crab, king crab, scallops, you know, and it was all you can eat. I think it was $49.99. And
oh my
he was
gosh,
like,
that's cheap. Yeah.
oh, at the time, well, they're long past that. They're now gone.
Yeah.
But he came, and Steve, would you care to tell him what you ate that night?
So listen, it was an all you can eat. Jerry asked me if I
Shrimp,
like
crabs.
seafood. I said I'm not
I can-
real big on seafood,
but
but I'll try it. I'll be happy to try it.
He said, "I will find something that I like."
Yeah, I'll find something I like. Most seafood places has some sort of chicken, Long John Silver's, whatever. So I'm like, all right, yeah, let's go. What I didn't realize is, Jerry had every intention of paying for everything, which he did. Because I'm more willing to waste my money on
Right.
food than somebody else. The second thing I realized that day is I don't like seafood from the ocean. I don't like crab. I did have some blue crab that I enjoyed. That was good. I ate
Maryland
some blue
blue
crab.
crab.
But the
Salt
big
shell.
crab king, the king crab
I don't like
things,
king crab either.
didn't like it.
It's
Didn't
too-
like
it's
the
too
lobster.
rich. I don't like my lobster fan either.
Didn't like any of the other stuff. So I proceeded to almost make myself sick eating as many freaking fried mozzarella sticks as I could possibly eat to try to get to $57 worth because I didn't want to waste Jerry's money.
Hush puppies.
I bet I ate 25 freaking mozzarella
And
sticks.
Dave and I are over here just going to town.
Oh, they had mounds of
steamed
like
crab and
leftover
shrimp
leg
and
stuff.
scallops and their food was so great.
I've never eaten so many mozzarella sticks in all my life.
Only brought that up to say he is not exaggerating. He does not like seafood, and that's the same story he's told me ever since.
I do try.
Long John Silver's once, twice a year.
Yeah,
Like
and
I
I'm
was at
good.
McDonald's, and
He takes his steak. When he goes to get his steak, he asks for it burnt.
No. I asked for it the only level on the whole chart that is done.
hockey puck.
I like it well done.
Hockey puck. That's
And,
what you're
and,
asking.
He
and
likes
listen, to be fair, I am an adult. I understand that this is not how steak is supposed to be cooked. It is, however, the only way I can eat it. So,
I get that.
I mean,
feel
I
sorry
know
for
it
you.
probably tastes better medium rare or whatever when it's bleeding and but
Juices.
Yes.
yeah, that's just gross. I'll have my juices cooked out. Thank you.
Anyway, skunk ape.
Let's just skunk ape, and I will.
The hell you think they made that one for? I got to support my guys that made that one sauce.
We're talking about food. Let me help your appetite along. We've talked about the fact that it kind of looks like an ape. Let's talk about where the word skunk comes from. One of the primary differences between this and any of the other cryptid, Sasquatch, Yeti, Bigfoot, is this one comes with a very strong odor. Believe it or not, and I know you're probably blown away. It's often described as smelling like a skunk.
Well, when
You thought
Tommy
our
was
show-
when Tommy was on the
Oh,
show,
yes,
we had
yes,
the same
yes.
thing. We talked that smell the first night woke us up. It was so bad.
I thought you were going to say that the seafood that Dave and I ate smelled like skunk to you.
No, that smelled like ass.
Gotcha. Now, these reportings of the skunk ape are not new. What is the oldest story you've heard? Direct, not just general. Indians talked about this, but as far as Bigfoot, Sasquatch, what's the oldest story you've heard of? Reported, let's say in the news.
Oh wow!
Oldest one you've heard.
The oldest one that you mean like that we remember?
Did you read about?
Oh,
Did you
Remember
heard
that
of
one in Washington where they found all the Sasquatch bodies?
Washington State?
Yeah.
You remember just roughly what decade or within
Was it
20,
the
30
40s,
years?
50s? You all did an
Yeah,
episode on it.
Okay, that's pretty old. 40s or 50s. The skunk ape goes back to 1818.
wow!
Wow.
A Franklin County, Florida, a local newspaper reported a story that spoke of a man-sized monkey that was raiding food stores and stalking fishermen along the shore. That article was published in 1818, 206 years ago.
Jeez.
Now, the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization has archived hundreds of alleged sightings since the 50s. Here's a few of the bigger ones. In the 1929, witnesses reported that an unknown ape-like creature was seen at the newly built Perky Bat Tower. I've never heard of it. Have you guys? When I was reading it, it's like well known. I'd never heard of it. Located in the Florida Keys. This thing come up, looked at it, shook the tower. Bats started flying away. It got scared and ran into the woods. Numerous witnesses reported.
It's crazy.
In 1942, a man in Suwannee County reported a similar creature that rushed out from the brush line when he's driving down the road in an old pickup truck, jumped on the running board, beat on the side of his truck for half a mile. I'm pretty sure this gentleman had consumed quite a bit intoxicating beverages before this story.
Or he had to change his pants when he got home.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
One or the other.
Can you imagine?
No,
It jumps on the side of your truck and is beating for half a mile?
no.
It's a little country road, so it's
No.
not an interstate where you're doing
Mm-mm.
80.
You often say, Jerry, when we're talking about ghost stories, that I'm out. I'm out. I'm hitting the
Yeah,
gas.
what do you do with them? You just like try and run into a tree to knock them off? Like,
Something, yeah.
Ooh, I'm out.
I think the first response would be what Steve said. I would need a new
I mean,
set
half a
of
mile,
pants.
that's a long ways to just be, oh man, this thing's on my car. Like,
I don't
Think of
care
the-
if you're doing 60, which you probably aren't on a little back isolated country
Right.
road, but that's a mile a minute, so at minimum of 30 seconds. nuts.
Think about the amount of, okay, we deal with these, we talk about these all the time. Think of the amount of, if you could just calm yourself for just a minute.
Sure.
Think about the amount of detail that you could present.
And no one can do
in half a minute, in half a mile with this guy, like literally right outside your window,
But
your
you're
car
just
window.
freaking out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When I'm sure, like, I know all the, like, if I've had a couple of, like, just traumatic instances in my life, like, it seems like it goes in slow motion.
Right.
So I'm sure that instance, he thought that felt like forever. Excuse me.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Moving on. In the 1970s, we talked about credible witnesses. In the 1970s, two Palm Beach sheriff's deputies on patrol together, Marvin Lewis and Ernie Milner, reported that an ape-like creature stalked them through a grove before they began firing their firearms, and then it disappeared. Again, we certainly know that not every single law enforcement officer is always honest and truthful. We certainly believe them to be overall pretty credible witnesses. This is two deputies that were on patrol together.
While you're bringing that up, I just want to stop for 1 second. The show's way over, and I'm okay with that. We're not even going to get to mine tonight. But I do want to say congratulations to Nick, my son. This Friday, he is graduating the police academy.
That is awesome.
And I'm just going to take a father moment here, and because he does listen to the show. Son, I am so freaking proud of you.
Right.
And I mean that because the police departments in America today need people like you.
Sure. Yeah.
And I just can't get over how proud and excited I am to see them pin that badge on you Friday. So just wanted to throw that out there because
Absolutely agree.
I'm stoked for it.
As you well should be. Several Everglades wildlife tour bus operators and their guests have reported seeing this. Now, again, the last one I mentioned is a couple of sheriff's deputies, very reputable. This one, it's bus drivers and it's people on the bus. But here's the deal. A whole bunch of people reported seeing the same thing.
And for the record, bus drivers, whom I know a bunch of, are pretty reputable. Just throwing it out there.
Not disputing that at all. I'm just saying that normally I wouldn't put them with law enforcement. That's all I'm saying. In July of 1997, one such operator, David Shealy, reported wildlife bait stands that he had filled with lima beans had all been raided, and he noticed strange tracks surrounding. He continued to bait several other locations with more lima beans, and multiple witnesses reported seeing the skunk ape in the vicinity, and the beans were all gone. A family hears a noise on their porch. They come out to see a huge beast outside their home, and they took a photo of the creature. Can I turn this so?
No, probably not.
I can't really pick it up. You can send it to me. I'll put it in the YouTube video too.
There's what the picture they took.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Whatever that is. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Do most people think that that's an actual picture? And not, when was that taken?
And soon after 2000. I think I read 2003. I'm not sure.
Okay,
I'll try to find it.
Yeah, so that was pretty long.
The skunk ape has been widely adopted across Florida as an unofficial mascot for wilderness and rural culture. It appears in roadside businesses, television commercials, and on signs. Early on during the COVID pandemic, Orlando's Gatorland Park used the skunk ape's reported foul smell in an attempt to promote social distancing. Smart, right? In 1977, a bill was proposed in the Florida state legislature that would have made it illegal to take, possess, harbor, or molest anthropoids or humanoid animals. Sadly, the bill didn't pass. Lastly, according to the best 10s, you find that very funny.
It was the last part. Who puts in? We're not going to take, harbor,
Possess, harbor, or molest.
Or molest a skunk ape.
There's like 125 pound dude with a mustache.
And he's like,
and he's
damn,
like,
you got that in the bill.
But even more so, more than 50% of the Florida legislature thought that wasn't a good idea. No, we need to allow them to keep molesting. So it was voted, the law was.
There's a reason there's a whole video stream labeled Florida people or Florida man.
Yeah.
Just check it out. That's fun.
According to Best Top 10's Roadside Attraction for 2024 list, Chile's official skunk ape headquarters in Ochapee, Florida, is currently ranked number 2 on their list. So, if you're in the area, you're looking for something to do, stop.
Wow.
The
So
skunk ape.
that's good. So let's make our votes here because we didn't do it last week. Shame on us.
No, we didn't do it last week.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Well,
We did it
Sort
for
of.
that in the week previous.
we tried to do it. I think it got cut off.
Oh, yeah. So we apologize for that too.
Yeah,
But
Riverside had some problems
yeah.
last week.
So, Brett, we talked about Luis Alexandro.
So
Does
I
he
obviously,
need more coverage or less coverage?
I'm going to give it a 2 thumbs up on Luis. I think it definitely needs more news
100%
coverage.
agree. And it's Elizondo. There's no R.
Right.
Alexandro. Okay,
Oh,
fair enough. So I agree. Especially since he joined forces with the lead singer and Tom DeLonge. Tom DeLonge is another truth seeker who is a head singer, and I forget the name of the band that he plays for. I'm sure Twitter's going to figure it out for us and let us know.
Absolutely.
But all he's doing is putting his reputation on the line to get disclosure.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm all with you. Even though I throw some red flags and I pump the brakes a little bit because he is intelligence, I still think that he did not push his book. He did not say, this is what the government told me not to say. He is just making the best of what he can, and I appreciate that. So I'm in. Thumbs
Totally
up.
agree.
Skunk Ape, Jerry.
I think what I covered tonight is probably enough.
So no?
Does it need more? I mean, it's funny. It's humorous. Does it need more? I can't honestly say that it does.
See, I disagree.
I'm going to disagree with you as well. I
think
thought
it's a
that
very
was
funny,
way more
humorous
interesting
story.
than Haktua.
Yeah.
Oh, but there's no doubt that beast certainly needs more coverage. Just saying.
This guy, he is obsessed. So I'm a thumbs
nothing
up
like he's
on
bringing
the
it up.
I'm
Skunk
thumbs
Ape.
up as well. Yeah.
For
And
Haktua,
here's
so
why.
3
No, Skunk Ape.
Oh,
Skunk Ape to me is one of those things that we covered a couple of weeks ago, or at least talked about covering when humans go feral, when they go out. And who's to say this isn't that? Because this is a much more human-sized version of Bigfoot. This is if I don't know, I just feel like it deserves a lot more coverage.
It could just be a really large hippie that likes smoking weed a lot and likes lima beans.
And hasn't had a bath long enough to make it smell
oh my
bad.
goodness.
I mean, that's possible.
When I was reading the ideas behind the smell, I was thinking about something you said recently, and you weren't talking about the skunk ape, you're talking about Bigfoot, and some of its natural tendencies to be able to avoid detection for so many years. This is a pretty freaking good one.
Yeah.
You know, the odor.
Yeah, if you smell a skunk, you're not going to go hear it.
Anywhere.
And skunk ape too
That's a great-
is not
that's a great
only in Florida. They've detected that in southern
Texas,
the
Georgia.
swamps of
Yes,
Georgia,
Alabama. Even
Louisiana.
a little bit into Texas. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. South
Uh,
Central U.S.
Yeah, and it's pretty a big story down there. So I'm with it. I think that we need as much. My question is now Florida. This is a weird thing, and I don't know if the two interact at all. But Florida has this huge problem with invasive snakes. Ever since was it Hurricane? Which hurricane was it that released all of those snakes out of that one
Don't
place?
remember.
But anyway, these particular snakes are all over the place. I wonder if that's a new food source for the skunk ape.
Oh yeah, you talk about like the big boa
Yeah,
constrictors.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So-
a big problem.
Anywho,
We missed the great Florida Bigfoot conference. We could have maybe seen
I saw that.
skunk. Yeah, I was just looking up to see if they had a convention for skunk ape.
well, I am all about doing another conference. I had such a great time up in Logan,
We did.
Ohio.
Absolutely.
And I can't wait to do another. We had one that we could have got into in Tennessee, but I'll be in San Juan, Mexico during that time. And that kind of sucks. not really, but given the choice of the two, but
And
definitely
I know
can't
we've
wait to
said
do
it.
those.
Sorry, I
Go
know we've
ahead.
said it before. We liked Logan, Ohio. We went because Bigfoot Festival, the biggest in the U.S. The thing that made us absolutely love the place was the people.
Oh, absolutely.
The vendors, whether it's Eastman, every person that we dealt with.
Go ahead and give him a shout out, Jerry.
Bar.
Let the people know who you're talking
We
about.
talked about it before.
Yeah.
The gentleman that was a next door neighbor to us, he come over and did an encounter with us. It's not been published yet, but it will be.
Very
He's
soon.
also, very soon, he's also an incredible artist. And we've got a couple of paintings that he was nice enough to give us that we will be
We're
giving
thinking
away.
of the best way. If you have an idea how to give those away, let us know. And we'll give you this one for doing it.
Easton Hawk Illustration. He's on Etsy. I left a link to it on last week's episode.
Looked good.
Since I mentioned him, I'll make sure to leave it again on this one. But yeah, an incredible artist. Another reason that we absolutely love the place. The people at the Shamrock Bar and Grill Pub, whatever it's called.
Best hamburgers in the world.
Yeah, the bar manager. Everyone we dealt with was very nice. So yeah, you go for Bigfoot and you end up saying, we love the interactions, the friends we made, and yeah, we need to do some more of those.
Yep, absolutely. So anyway, great show, and I'm excited. We got three thumbs up.
Took your.
It's okay. We got time. We got nothing else. We got time. Shoot. So 3 thumbs up on Luis Alexandro, 2 thumbs up and a thumbs down on Skunk Ape.
Humorous show, but I don't know.
That was an interesting episode, but our journey isn't over yet. If you stay tuned, we have an exciting bonus story coming up after this commercial break.
Hi, this is Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. When it comes to buying a home, the process can be overwhelming and confusing. With so many options, it can be hard to know where to start. That's why it's important to work with a certified mortgage loan originator. I have the knowledge and expertise to guide you through the process and find the best mortgage option for you. I will work with you every step of the way to ensure that you are getting the best deal possible. So if you're looking to purchase or refinance, please reach out to me at 502-680-0953. So don't take on the stress of buying a home alone. Work with me and I will make your dream a reality. Trust the professionals and make your home buying experience a positive one. MLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, MLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is equal housing opportunity.
If you would like to share suggestions for future episodes, an intriguing ghost story, or simply tell us how much you love or hate us, please get in touch with us. You can reach us via email at newsworthywithstephencherry@gmail.com or send us a text at area code 540-709-1318.
And now, back to the story.
So, Jerry, we were talking a little earlier about getting older.
Right.
I got a great story for you for the bonus story.
Okay.
At the age of 67, Emma Rowena Gatewood informed her adult children she was going out for a walk. Little did they know that her walk, and I'm using air quotes, would make history. Gatewood became the first woman at 67 years old to hike the entire 2,168 mile Appalachian Trail solo and in one season, starting from Mount Oglethorpe in Georgia and ending in Mount Hatchedin in Maine. Gatewood, often called Grandma Gatewood, was a farmer's wife in Ohio. She was a mother to 11 children who in turn gave her 24 grandchildren. Her remarkable journey was not only a testament to her physical endurance, but also her indomitable spirit. She survived a marriage marked by severe domestic abuse, escaping her abusive husband after many years. Her trek on the Appalachian Trail was a form of liberation and healing. Gatewood's first through hike in 1955 was done with minimal gear. She wore Ked sneakers, carried a homemade denim bag, and relied on her knowledge of foraging and the kindness of strangers along the way. She completed the trail again in 1960 and a sectioned hike in 1963, becoming an enduring symbol of perseverance and adventure. Her journey brought significant attention to the Appalachian Trail and inspired future generations of hikers. Emma Gatewood's legacy lives on, not only in the hiking community, but as a powerful story of resilience and enduring. How about that? 67. 2,000 miles of hiking in Ked sneakers.
Absolutely inspirational.
It's like Forrest
Freaking,
Gump.
freaking amazing. Go get them.
And Jerry, if you can't see the light,
Be the light.